Hey guys, this is Corey here with Concert Crap, and I'm here speaking with Phil from Blackout Balter. How you doing today, Phil?
Hey, what's up, Corey? Great to be with you.
Thank you again for doing this, man. All right. So who
Of course.
is Blackout Balter? Go for it.
We're a new rock and roll band out of Boston, and we're really excited to be doing what we're doing. But we're a four-piece. It's me on lead vocal and guitar, Amelia on bass and vocals, Misha on keys and guitar, and then Chris on drums.
Dang, you were reading that like right from my notes right here, like exactly like it. So thanks for doing that. Can you give like a brief?
Yeah, of course.
Can you give like a brief history on how you guys came about, how you all know each other?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, I met Chris not too long ago at a neighborhood block party, and Chris and I had heard that there was a drummer somewhere in the neighborhood, and Chris had heard apparently that there was a songwriter out there, and we met at this block party. Before we knew it, I was exchanging some songs with Chris. I sent him over a bunch of demos, super early songs that I was working on, and Chris responded really well to it. He said he loved the music, and before we knew it, he and I we rented a little studio time and went into the studio and cut some more formal demos and all that kind of stuff. So we just kind of hit it off right away. And then around that time, actually, I was transitioning to grad school at MIT in Cambridge. And shortly after I got there, I met a guy who was coming up to the MIT area to start a software company. He had just graduated from Brown in the Providence area, and it turned out to be Misha, who ultimately started playing keys for us to start. So, and then from there I met Amelia, who plays bass with us, through the local scene, and she had a great band called New Highway Hymnal, which is now not doing any music, but Amelia is amazing. So she was a Berklee College of Music grad, doing her thing in the Boston area, and we met through that local scene.
How long?
That's kind of how everything came together.
How long has that been since like you guys first started like thinking of doing the band? Like how long have you guys been in the band?
Yeah, that's a great question, Corey. Well, Chris and I met a couple of years ago, and we were the first people. We were the first people to really meet, as I said, and we played music together for probably, I would say, maybe a year or so, and we weren't even playing. You know, we were playing early songs. We weren't even playing anything that would later turn into the music that's on the Twist and Bend EP. So we were just kind of getting our chops, so to speak, working on things together, throwing out ideas, all that kind of stuff. So Chris and I were kind of primed and ready to go by the time we met Misha and Amelia.
And then did they did you guys flow with them really well to make your music, and just were you guys like pretty much all on the same page?
I think so. I think so. I think, you know, we were, what's always been really important to me is it's not just like about playing music together. You really have to care about the people you're working with. You have to be friends with them first, all that kind of stuff. And so for all of us, we were really friends first, and we got along, and you know, music was just kind of that additional thing that brought us together. But absolutely, we meshed well right away.
That's
so
cool.
I knew when we got Amelia in the band, and once again, Chris, Misha, and I had been working together a little before that. So first it was Chris and I, then Misha, then Amelia. But when Amelia came into the fold, we really knew we had something special.
Who were some of your like early artists growing up to get you into the music?
Well, there were a bunch. I've been a big fan of 70s underground rock and roll since I was an early teen. So my two cousins introduced me to Black Flag. So that was, of course, the 80s, LA hardcore scene. But that was really the gateway drug for me, so to speak, to get me into kind of the 70s underground rock scene. Of course, Iggy Pop and Patti Smith and Velvet Underground and New York Dolls and on and on and on. But these bands were extremely influential to me growing up. And then, of course, big into 90s music as well. So Nirvana was a huge fan of Kurt Cobain. And on the songwriting front, always gravitated toward Elliott Smith and Pavement and artists like those. So all of those artists and bands really went into influencing, I think, how we sound as Blackout Balter. Did
your family influence you at all? Did you have a big musical family at all that was really into it, that got you into it even more?
Actually, that's a great question, and I don't think so. I mean, so as I said, my cousins, Bane and Andrew, they were very musical, and so certainly being close with them, that influenced me and kind of pushed me to doing things musically. But outside of that, we don't have a particularly musical family, though we have a family that's always viewed the arts as a whole as very important. We have a number of professional artists in the family, fine artists and photographers and you name it. So maybe not on the music side, but certainly on the creative side.
For sure. Okay, I know you guys recorded your new record in the Killers Battleborn Studios in Las Vegas. How did that happen?
Yeah.
How did you guys get from Massachusetts to Vegas to record that?
We took a long plane flight to record that. No, well, I was introduced to Dave Tuning of the Killers through a mutual friend, and shortly after we were introduced, I was on the West Coast doing some things in LA, and Dave lives in the San Diego area, and I texted Dave, and I said, "Hey man, I'm on the West Coast, short drive to San Diego. If you're around, would love to hang for a little." And Dave shot back and said, "Yeah, man, stop by. Like, we'll hang out, all that kind of stuff." So, went over to Dave's place, and Dave showed me a bunch of new Killers demos that he had been working on.
Oh, wow.
Predominantly the guitar parts. Yeah, I mean, this is like I may seem a little calm as I say this, but this is awesome, right? I mean, this is Dave Tuning of the Killers showing me new Killers demos, and so I was loving it. It was great. And it just so happened that a couple weeks prior to my being on the West Coast, we had all gotten together as a band and gone into a little studio in the Boston area to cut a number of demos that would later become the Twist and Bend album. And I had the digital versions on my phone, and after Dave was done showing me the Killer stuff, I said, "Hey, I've been working on some stuff," and Dave said, "Hey, throw it on the stereo." So I remember plugging in my phone and thinking like yeah, Dave will probably say good job or something, and we'll listen to 30 seconds of one of the songs or whatever. But before I knew it, we had listened to one song and the next song and the next song. And Dave, he really didn't hold back. He was like, this is amazing stuff, and I'd love for you to cut this out in Las Vegas at our studio, and I'd love to be a part of this. So, that's one of those surreal moments in life where, I don't know, I guess people dream about these moments, and it was that sort of moment I'll never forget the rest of my life. What amazing stuff.
Was the demo like the entire band?
It was the entire band. Yeah.
Did did you?
So,
And I mean, like you said, like it is a dream. That's really cool, man. That's amazing that he offered
I
that to you guys.
know.
That was really cool. Like, how was it working with him in the studio?
It was so cool, and I was so impressed because, I mean, you saw. So first of all, outside of being an amazing artist and a rock god, Dave is just an amazing guy. He's a great, down to earth person. He's just an amazing dude. So, but in the studio, it was amazing to see how quickly he worked. I think we focused on, I want to say Heavy Hand, which was the first single we dropped, or Goodbye Cambridge. One of those we focused on first. I forget. Dave actually played cello on Goodbye Cambridge, and then he played guitar on Heavy Hand and Hello Operator. But for Heavy Hand in particular, it was a very quick and smooth process working with Dave. He knew exactly what he wanted to lay down. He was quick. He was efficient. We saw a lot of the ideas that ultimately he laid down in the recording materialize. And I remember saying to Dave at one point, I was like, "Oh my God!" I like couldn't control my excitement. I was like, how did you get that riff so quickly? Like, how did you figure that out? I was like, did you just pull that out of your ass? And he's like, well, I was just, over there listening to the music, and I started humming the melody, and then I just, I put on the guitar and I played the melody. And I was like, oh, that's fucking amazing. So yeah, it was just such a cool experience watching him really do what he does best. And once again, he's just a great down-to-earth guy. And I will tell you, while we were in Vegas and, waiting for Dave to show up, we showed up a little early, and then, Dave was supposed to show up at a certain time, and I later found out he was, of course, running a little late or something. But I remember, staring out from inside the studio, looking out to Las Vegas and thinking, well, we're here in Las Vegas, but, I still don't believe we're here, and I still don't believe we're going to be, laying down some stuff with Dave tuning. Maybe it's not going to happen, because Dave didn't show up on time. Maybe this isn't going to happen. And then before we knew it, Dave pulls up, and he's carrying this huge cello case, and on the cello case there's a piece of masking tape that says "Old German Cello" on it. And he comes just kind of barreling into the studio with, this huge cello case that says "Old German Cello" on it. And, once again, it's just these memories. I don't think we took 1 second of our time out in Vegas for granted. We were just, we were present the entire time, and really thankful for that opportunity. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, that's amazing story. I mean, I've never heard anything like that. That's amazing, especially from such a huge band like the Killers. All right, let's get into your new record, Twist and Bend. It's out July 8th. What can fans, people who haven't heard you, what can they expect to hear from that?
I don't know. I mean, I think I hope they can expect to hear some good songs. So I'm really proud of the songs that we put together, and as the primary songwriter of the band, I worked very hard on creating what I like to call melodic left turn. So maybe the songs sound a little bit catchy and familiar, but hopefully melodically we're taking listeners to kind of a new place as they listen to our music. And then when you juxtapose, let's say, some of those melodic left turns with a lyrical structure that's somewhat interesting, I hope that we're presenting the type of music that sounds new and fresh and provides some sort of catharsis within our listeners. So I think you're going to hear some stuff that sounds new and fresh, but at the same time, in some sort of way, maybe familiar and hopefully catchy as well. I think that sort of stuff for me gets me through the day.
What's been the reception for the singles that you guys have released from fans in the online community?
Yeah, well, we've gotten a great reception for both our singles, Heavy Hand and Goodbye Cambridge. Mm-hmm. Heavy Hand just kind of blew us away. Pace Magazine premiered it, and we're still, we kind of get the numbers behind the scenes, and we're seeing the traction and how Heavy Hand is being put on a ton of, playlists and all that kind of stuff. So we couldn't be happier about how the traction's been for these two singles. And actually, we're getting ready to release our third single before we drop the full EP next week. So,
perfect.
So these are exciting times. Yeah. So everyone will get a chance to hear some new music next week.
For sure, I'll definitely be listening. I'll be keeping an ear out for that. Definitely. What shows or tours do you guys have coming up to support the release of this? To support this release.
Right. Well, we work with a couple of agents, and we've got a bunch of stuff that is in the works behind the scenes. I'm being intentionally tight-lipped on some of that, but you're going to see a U.S. tour and a Europe tour materialize here soon. We're going to be announcing dates in the not-so-distant future.
Where have you guys played most of your shows?
The majority of our shows have been kind of up and down the East Coast, actually. So, we've been playing in kind of the standard indie rock clubs and what have you, and we've gotten a great reception, and that's where we built our initial fan base. But now's the time to really step back and, as we're working with agents now and what have you, as opposed to booking our own shows. So things are, we're approaching things a bit more methodically, and we have a team at our side who are helping us out. They're an outstanding team. So we played a ton down the East Coast. And we're going to be expanding, across the U.S., of course, and then ultimately around Europe as well.
I will definitely keep an eye out for that. All right. Last question. Since you said you're pretty much from the East Coast, but you spent some time in the West Coast, you got to answer the best question of all: East Coast or West Coast? Which one is better?
Well, I think they're both good in their own right, but I've found that East Coasters. I was born and raised actually in Philly, and East Coasters, we have kind of like a sharp outer edge, but once you befriend us and we like you and all that kind of stuff, we really open up, and there's no one more loyal than an East Coaster. But, West Coasters, you've got that vibe going on that's just contagious. We want to work together, let's do this, let's have a good time, and I absolutely love that. I'll tell you, so we're in Boston, of course, the band, but we've talked about potential moves, potentially Los Angeles area, and I've been there many, many times, and I absolutely love it there. So I'm I got to tell you, I'm 1 foot over on the West Coast and 1 foot on the East Coast.
You're split, huh? You're right down the middle.
I'm split right down the middle. I love both. I will tell you, we're not huge fans of the cold winter weather, so
I don't think anybody is.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's just not for me. So we'll see.
All right, man. Is there anything else you want to say about the band, the release, about anything at all?
Well, I'm just really happy to be with you, Corey, and I just like to point everyone to our site, blackoutbalter.com, and on social, it's very easy. It's just Blackout Balter across the board. We want to hear from you, hear how everyone's digging our music, and we hope to see everyone soon on tour.
All right, man. You summed it all up perfectly. I'm going to leave the links to that at the bottom of the page. Make sure you guys check them out, blackoutbalter.com. Let us know what you think of the band. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Concert Crap. And that is it. We will see you guys next time. Take care.